Welcome to T.E.A.
All right,
We have
about the
discussions
buoy.
about everything that affects us in life, the good and the bad.
Mm.
Okay? And so we do it every morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. And know that when we're late on this show, we're behind the scenes working, trying to connect the dots. And so we apologize for being late today. And so we're only going to do 15 minutes on today. But we're going to continue this show again on Saturday, the first Saturday in October. So join us again for the continuation of this show. My name is Dr. Tonie Anderson-Steele, and right over here, you see somebody else next beside me, and this is Chief Jason Lewis, and he has a story, and we're going to hear his story on Tea Time this morning. So thank you very much for joining us, and let's hear what Chief Lewis is going to tell us about. Something exciting about our ancestors.
All right. Well, number one, thanks for teeing me up today.
You're welcome.
This is an exciting time because the work that I have been doing has been exciting for me because it made me hit a complete 360, 180, then 180 and 360 back again.
Woohoo!
Um, so just the same as with your Black Wall Streets and all the other amazing history that we're hearing about our people over the last maybe about 10 years. So also is Africatown. My name is Chief Jason Lewis. I reserved the chief because when I initially got started back in my old community, I was still active duty Navy. I am now retired a year out from that point.
Thank you for
Just
your service.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. You're welcome. Hey, they got 24 years out me, so
Woohoo!
I
We
gotta make
did
that count.
good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And so the title still reigns in the community because when I initially started going back, that's what I was going back for. And so we'll just jump right in with this. It's amazing how you can grow up in a community your entire life. Both my maternal and my paternal grandparents' home are still in the community and never hear of this illustrious story called Africatown and the fact that some West Africans settled that community along with some very forward thinking Africans and enslaved people in that community to
Mhm.
create a space to where right now it has one of probably three remaining Rosenwald schools. It is the only space on the globe where people identify with finding the last ship that brought them over, and the community is still sitting smack dab in the middle of the industry in the land that the plantation owner that purchased them from West Africa still owns. And so the perpetuation of what it looked like to give repair to somebody and being colonized and living in this project we call America, you can see it in full bloom in Africatown. You can see the resistance, you can see the maroonage, you can see the intellect, and you can see the institution building because if you can imagine in 1860, some enslaved people who was brought over here after the transatlantic slave trade was deemed illegal in 1808 in Europe and 1809 in America, brought over here, and in 5 years from the time of the Civil War starting to the time to where the fighting stops on June 19, 1865, because we know the Emancipation Proclamation did nothing but
Right.
put some ink on paper. But
That's
these
right.
people settled the community, and that community is still around today. And as we speak, tourism and everything that you can name is being planned for the community after a very tumultuous time that I knew it growing up. I knew it during the war on drugs and the crack epidemic. And
Mhm.
so the significance of the community was never brought up. And so what I've done to make sure that that story and the luster of that story for our people is not lost is I hit a U-turn in my life. I was going to retire out of the military and settle in the Midwest and had to come to the conclusion that the community needed a voice along with the other voices to make sure that the history wasn't lost and that they had someone youthful there to make sure that they're not gentrified or hijacked like we see much of our history in America.
Well, I must say that I'm a little jealous. And the reason I'm jealous is because you know where your heritage is. Me, I had to, and others, I had to actually release my DNA
mm,
to find out where I came from, where my ancestors began at. And I do have that. But
mm,
you just so close by, it's just simply wonderful. I know you feel good in the heart, the soul, the mind, and spirit to know exactly where your ancestors were. So I'm jealous, but I'm happy too at the same time. And so we're constantly looking for our ancestors, the place where they were,
mm,
the place where they landed, in wherever they landed. You know, we always thought for years,
mm,
at least I did, that they all came to the United States
mhm,
as enslaved people. But we know now that there were more enslaved people taken to the Caribbean than to the United States. And so it is amazing. And actually, Chief, I think it was July 8th that I was over in Africatown for the ceremony, opening
yeah.
up the museum,
Yes.
and all of that. So tell us a little bit about what we can expect when we visit. Thank you for that good introduction, too. But when we visit Africatown, which is not too far from anywhere,
Mhm,
in Alabama, if we did not make that clear, it's in Alabama. The largest city that I know of that is closest to is Mobile, Alabama. And
mhm,
it's in an area that's called Plateau, Alabama.
mhm.
Am I right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And in Plateau, Alabama, is this village called Africatown. Did I say that correctly?
You said it correctly.
Okay. Tell us more about what we can see when we go over there to Africatown and see firsthand your history.
Okay, number one, you'll see I have the same story as you. I am adjacent to the families that settle the community. But the beauty of that is I have more family ties that root me back to Northern Alabama, which has given me the ticket to go back to West Africa in 2018 to start making those connections. And so all of us are of African descent. And even if you don't know, if you never do a blood test, this is what I've set up for everybody because I understand the dilemma. If you go to africatowntours.com,
Mm-hmm.
if they're on this show, my email is on there. If they email me directly saying that they watch this show, we'll set up a tour where it'll be at a discounted price so that we can start walking through what does it look like for the African American or the African Brazilian or the African anybody that never had a chance to do the blood test or
Mm-hmm.
go back like I did.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm creating a space in Africatown
Mm-hmm.
where you have a rites of passage. It's a small but significant space that we've created to where we have libation. You
Mm-hmm.
talk with your ancestors. You
Mm-hmm.
talk with the ancestors in Africatown.
Mm-hmm.
You talk with the Lord, whoever, whatever spiritual basis that you're in, so
Mm-hmm.
that we can get to the root of what is our identity and why does it even matter so much that I have my identity historically when obviously you're a well accomplished person, but it matters what our
Yes,
identity
it
is.
does. You know, we always heard we're standing on the shoulders of our ancestors, right? Well,
Yes.
I want to get personal with my ancestors, know some names and where they began,
Mhm.
and what they were doing, and the traditions did come over with them, but
Yes.
it was beaten out of them. They couldn't hold on to it. They had to change their whole culture. They had to drop it off and leave
Mhm.
it and take on somebody else's culture. And I want to know what my culture, I want to know what it is that my ancestors knew at that time. And
It
so
it's playing out right now with me and you talking. What I'm discovering is everybody that I'm meeting
mhm.
is a divine appointment. Me and you meeting at the time we met and we're
Yes.
talking now was a divine appointment. And so something is orchestrating everything that's happening. And so when you say we're gonna go back to try to find out who we are, which is the
Mhm.
same Kofa,
Mhm.
I call the space the return to culture
Mhm.
space. You just hit it
Mhm.
on the head. The
Mhm.
culture is the thing that can center us
Mhm.
and project us forward in the way that we need to go forward.
I understand. So is this a group that you would want? And look on the screen. Do we have your email address correct?
Yes, africatowntours@gmail.com. That's it. So everybody can email
Mhm.
me directly there
Mhm.
to set up either a 5 to 32 person tour if they want to come in on a bus they can come in 60 to 100 or whatever, and I can do a step on tour with them. But it's like any other tour experience that you're going to go to in America,
Mhm.
except uh, it's an invitation into my home, into my home community, to show you what does it look like for us as an African people,
Mhm.
who thinks globally, that
Mhm.
understands that the things that affects us
Mhm.
right now in Tangier and
Mhm.
everywhere else globally, it should affect us now. And the things that's happening in Africatown right now
Mhm.
should affect directly everybody,
Yes,
because this is the space to where we've been given a voice. It's
that's right.
not many times we get this opportunity,
No,
and so
not at
I
all.
don't want to take it lightly. I don't want to take our time lightly. And so if you don't see that email, go to africatowntours.com, reach out to me so that we can start having a conversation, but not just have the conversation, do something about it,
I'm ready.
because I am so tired of seeing all of these discussions about who we are, the economic harm, the environmental harm, the years of oppression, and nobody actually putting together an action plan. And so, when you went to that space in Africatown called the Clotilda exhibit, I have a book there.
Right.
It's
Yes.
called The Making of a Chief. And
Right.
what I did was I identified the game that all our colonial powers have played over our lives and just recentered us in Africa. And you can take it from there. The empowering part about it is this: once we recenter ourselves in our own history, we don't have to hate on anybody. We
That's
can
right.
proudly say to everybody, could you just let us get our community and leave us alone? And then from there,
Mhm.
the repair can take place on its own. We'll
Mhm.
be able to make the demands. We'll
Okay.
be able to do the things necessary to get us to that space to where it makes sense for us to go back and find our history. Because when we go back and find our history, and we started in the Kemets and the Egypts
Mhm.
and the Malis,
Mhm.
we'll see where we were hijacked from our own story.
Right. Well, yes, all of that is interesting, and we want to know more. Africatown is simply a wonderful historical place to visit. The history and the walk and the way they celebrate and the way our ancestors did was so enlightening and spirit felt and led,
Yes.
and that's where we should all want to be. And you get happier when you find out where you came from and how to do things. Your spirit and soul just be so happy and overpowered, and you just don't know what to do with yourself. It's like your blood is hot and
Yeah.
on fire because now you know. And
Yeah.
so I want to thank you for joining the show. Such good information. And I have to come back again
Mhm.
because I'm going to be one of the ones first to email you. So I think we're getting ready to sign off because we're out of time for
Mhm.
today. But remember, we'll be doing this again uh, um, on the first Saturday
In October.
in October,
Mhm.
and we will be on time. And we'll start at 9 a.m. So the first Saturday is the 7th. And in addition to this, let me make one announcement. And the one announcement is that this show is also advertised in two different locations outside of our area. It goes to a station in Chicago under GMAP 1. It's scrolling now on the screen, the marquee. It airs a GMAP broadcast network every Saturday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Currently, we're on the same time until we make that switch to our time. I think in November, I think we'll make time and change. And then, in addition to being there, it goes to it's advertised in Fort Lauderdale on the station. So you're going to draw viewers and tour guides. I'm already in my head when you said from 5 to 32, I think people to call in for tours and things like that. I believe I got excited too because I'm thinking now I need to get a group of kids here from Pensacola, even
Mhm.
adults, and we call our tails on over there and get
Yeah.
what you got over there. We don't want to waste what's been started. We want to
Mhm.
use it to the utmost. And so, Chief, I want to thank you for joining us, and I want to hear more about your story because I got some questions in my head, and we're gonna continue with this October 7th at 9
Okay.
a.m. Central Standard Time. And I appreciate you joining us today. I am pleased to have you on the show, and we'll send you a link. And as we sign off on the show, will you stay on for just a moment, please?
Okay.
Thank you. All right, y'all. Bye. Y'all have a good day. Happy Sabbath. Forgive someone. Hug someone. Let someone know you care. And if you got something you can share, share it. Bye till next time. Love y'all.